people who want to know what this is and why it's happening. Can you give us an introduction?
Yeah, again, the term geoengineering, aka chemtrails, the layman's term for what we see happening in the skies, but this is weather modification on a global scale. In fact, these programs are so large and so all-encompassing that all other weather modification programs that go on a smaller regional basis are virtually, they're negated by the scope and scale of the global geoengineering programs. And these programs involve a number of aspects. You have the saturation of the atmosphere with various chemical and metal particulates. And there appear to be various purposes and objectives with this saturation. In conjunction with the saturation, which ionizes the atmosphere, it makes the atmosphere more conductive, we have the HAARP facilities, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. These are ionosphere heaters. Many have heard of the HAARP facilities. There's not just one or two or three. We believe there's at least 18 around the globe, possibly with 3 more being built in Antarctica right now. And once the atmosphere is saturated with these particulates, and then you add the ionosphere heaters, the entire weather system globally is virtually being thwarted. There is no natural weather at this point, and we really don't know what sort of climate conditions we would have necessarily if these programs were brought to a halt, and they desperately need to be brought to a halt, because the saturation of the atmosphere is thwarting the hydrological cycle. It's totally disrupting the rain cycle. Again, we have the artificially nucleated snowstorms, which I just mentioned. You can't go from 100 degrees to snow in one day without a whole lot of help. This includes jet stream manipulation with the HAARP facilities, and we are not guessing at this. We have monitoring sources for this signal, and we can see where the signal is most intense, and that's what steers the jet stream. So then you add artificial ice nucleation, which is a chemical nucleation process. They can turn what should have been rain into snow and drop the temperatures of these storm systems by this artificial chemical nucleation. This isn't sci-fi, this is hard science fact. The weather disseminating agencies are trying desperately, their task, and they're all owned at the very top, it appears, by the Rothschilds and or other parts of the global elite complex. Rothschilds in particular are ownership of Weather Channel, Weather Central, Weather Underground. And it was imperative that they own these agencies, otherwise there would be great discrepancy in trying to explain away these events.
The climate bomb is a new weapon of mass destruction that is being secretly developed, which involves the HAARP system of magnetic bombardment to obtain unimaginable effects on a planetary scale, triggering floods, earthquakes, tsunamis, droughts, and cataclysms. Unfortunately, this scenario is no longer science fiction. Rather, it forms part of climate-based geoengineering, which uses chemtrails and HAARP. Although many claim these are conspiracy theories, the facts demonstrate that we are dealing with a shocking degree of disinformation and manipulation. The debate surrounding global climate change rarely acknowledges the existence of the climate-altering techniques detailed in the Environmental Modification Convention, ENMOD. Nonetheless, global climate can now be modified, as part of a generation of sophisticated electromagnetic weapons. Both the USA and Russia have developed the ability to manipulate the weather for military purposes. Indeed, the US Army has honed its skills, enabling them to selectively alter climate patterns, and this technology has been perfected using the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. It is a side project linked to a strategic defense initiative from a military standpoint. HAARP is a weapon of mass destruction that operates in outer space, and it is capable of destabilizing the entire world's agricultural and ecological systems. Climate warfare is the latest weapon of mass destruction, and it has the potential to destabilize the ecosystems of enemy countries, destroying their agriculture or disabling their communication networks. In other words, HAARP's climate-altering techniques can completely undermine a national economy and force millions of people into poverty. It can kill a nation without deploying troops or battle tanks. HAARP is linked to 50 years' worth of intensive, destructive programs focused on learning about and controlling the upper atmosphere. It is an integral part of a long history of space-based research and deliberate military development. The ability to combine missiles, space labs and HARP, discharging massive amounts of energy, is comparable to a nuclear bomb launched anywhere on Earth, using lasers and particle beams.